Hello guys, welcome to my channel. This is part 92 of ASP.NET MVC tutorial. In this video, we will discuss using Ajax with ASP.NET MVC. ASP.NET Ajax. ASP.NET Ajax enables a web applications to retrieve data from the server asynchronously and to update portions of the existing page. So these partial page updates make web application more responsive and hence improves user experience. Let me show you the complete slide. Here it is. We will be using table TBL student in this demo. So go to the SQL Server Management Studio. We will be using this table TBL student in this demo. Notice that we have got student ID, name of the student, and the total marks they have got. Here is the SQL script to create and populate this table. Now this is what we want to achieve. Now this is what we want to achieve. By the end of this video, we want to display the three links. These are the three links, all top three, bottom three, on a view. So we want to display these three links on a view. So obviously, when I click all, we want to retrieve all the students from the database and then display them. And when I click top three, then I want to retrieve only the top three students by total marks and display them. Bottom three should display bottom three students, and when we click on these respective links, we don't want the entire page to be loading again. We only want that portion of the view to be updated. Okay, so there are several advantages of these partial page updates. We will discuss the full list in our next video session. But now let's continue with this example. So the first step to achieve this is to create an edu.NET entity model based on this table. So let's flip to Visual Studio. So we need to open up our Visual Studio. So go to Start. Where is the Visual Studio? I'm using Visual Studio 2022. So I'm going to create a project, and I want ASP.NET Web Application. ASP.NET Web Application, .NET Framework, C#. Don't use this. This is for Visual Basics. So select this ASP.NET Web Application, .NET Framework, and name the project as MVC Demo. And choose the location where you want to save your project. So I'm going to select my project in the folder. This one, this is my folder, empty folder. Select this folder. Okay. Create. Click Create. So I'm going to select MVC. This is going to be ASP.NET MVC 5. So select this. And we need to delete some auto-generated files from some folders. So it is taking time to create the project. Let the project be created. So project is created now. So go to Solution Explorer. First of all, you need to delete home controller, auto-generated. Click OK. Now from View, click Home folder, because we will generate ourselves. Also delete this shared folder. Delete this view start CS.html. So we have only this web.config file within the view folders. So now what we need to do, we need to create we need to first add something into this model folder. So right mouse button, click on model, add new item. And what we want to do, select data from here, and we need to add a edu.NET entity data model and name this as student model. Make sure the spelling is correct. Now click add, and we want to generate our model from the database. Select this and click next. And here it is asking for which data connection should your application use to connect to the database. So go to the SQL Management Studio. From here, click this symbol and copy the server name. Close this and paste it here. Oh, we need to paste it here. Server name should be pasted here. Okay. Then click this trust server certificate. Now click here. So what is our database name? Sample 28. So test the connection. Test connection is succeeded. Okay. Okay. And what we need to do here? And we want our connection string to be stored as sample DB context. As sample DB context. Make sure the spelling is correct. Click next. Check this options. Entity framework 6.x. Click next. So this should connect to the database and retrieve all the tables, views, and stored procedure. We are interested in table TBL student because we have made our separate database with name sample 28. So we will see only one table here. So select this. We are interested in TBL student. So let's go ahead and select that, and we want our model to live. We want our model to live in models namespace. So here we need to write model namespace. Click finish. Make sure the spelling is correct. Models. Click finish. So this should generate an entity with name TBL student. So it will ask this prompt. Click OK. It will ask for 3 times. It will pop up once again. You need to click OK, OK. Once again, click OK. And click once again OK. And this should generate an entity with name TBL student. It is taking time now. So it generated an entity with name TBL student, but let's change the name to student. Change the names to student. Let's build a solution so that the student entity class is compiled. All right. So how to build the solution? You need to put cursor, right mouse button, click here, right click here, build solution. So that the student entity, we built the solution so that the student entity class is compiled. All right. The next step is to actually add a partial view in a bit. We will understand how we are going to make use of that partial view. So at the moment within views, because we have deleted all the stuff from the view, so at the moment within the views, we don't have anything except web.config file. So let me first add the shared folder. So add a folder with name shared. We have added the folder shared here, and I'm going to place that partial view within this shared folder. So let's right click on the shared folder, add a view. So click add a view here. We are going to add MVC5 view. And let's call this underscore student. Underscore student. And we want to create partial view. So leave it as it is. So checked it. Don't leave it as it is. So we want to create partial view. So click this. And I want to create a strongly typed view against student model. And scaffold template is going to be list. So from we need to select list and select here student MVC demo models. Let's add. So this should create student partial view. What is going on? It is showing me the whole coding here. So let me delete this once again, because we will have to write this coding again. Okay, let me do it here. We need to remove this para from here. We don't need this. Okay, so the model for this partial view is going to be enumerable. As you can see it here, enumerable of student, meaning the list of student. I don't need this create new link, so delete this. And then let's get rid of this extra th. So delete this extra th. And then let's get rid of the td which display the action link. Get rid of this td which display the action link to edit, to view the details, and delete. Because in the UI, we just want the name of the student and their total marks. Okay. So I'm going to get rid of this td. We have already got rid of that tds from there. So basically what is this doing? Look at this here. Look at this here. We are going to get list of student. The first tr here display. The first tr here display. The heading, that is name. The heading, that is name, and total marks. That is what we get with this piece of HTML. That is what we get with this piece of HTML. And then what we are doing here, we are using for each loop. For each loop, we are using for each loop, looping through the model, looping through the model. What is the model here? It is nothing but I enumerable of student. That is list of students. And for each student, we are displaying their name, and total marks. Okay. And what I am going to do here, is if we look at the table here, it has got a 1 pixel solid black border, and then background color here is silver. Though there is different color, but in the coding I will use silver color. So let's go ahead and set those style for this table. So go back to Visual Studio, and here we need to specify style attribute, and set border to 1 pixel. One pixel solid black. And background color to silver. Background color to silver. Okay, so this is the partial view, and in a bit we will see how we are going to use it. Okay, so that is the second step. First step is to add the edu.NET entity data model. Second step is to add a partial view, which is going to display this interface for us. And now let's add a controller. So inside the controller we don't have anything there. Add controller, and we will choose, let's add a home controller. We will select empty MVC5 controller empty. Name it as home controller. Make sure the spelling is correct. Okay, correct. Click add. Okay. So within this MVC controller, we have index view. And then at the class level, at the controller level, I am going to create an instance of the sample DB context class. So there should be a namespace MVC demo.models, public partial class, where is the sample DB context. So we need to go, it should be here. So it is not showing in right now. Okay, close this, close this, close this, and close this, and also close this one. So we should have sample DB context created. So this class is going to help us to connect to the database. Sample DB context should be in this file, either this student model design.cs or this one. Okay. So this class sample DB context is going to help us to connect to the database. So I'm going to create an instance of that class. And if you notice, this class is present in, that class should be present in namespace MVC demo dot models. This student class is found sample DB context object context. Okay, so that sample DB context is present in MVC demo dot model namespace. So let's go ahead and include that namespace space right here. MVC demo dot models. And let's create an instance of sample DB context. Let's call it DB. Sample context, let's call it sample DB context. Let's call it DB. create an instance of that. This is the instance. We have created the instance of that. And then I'm going to add 3 action method here. Okay. So look at this. When I click all, we want an action method to response and return us the list of all students. Similarly, when I click top 3, we need an action method, and when we click on bottom 3, we need an action method. So I'm going to add an action method here. So let's make a copy of this one and paste it here. So go back to the Visual Studio. Copy this and paste it here. And let's call this action method as all. You can give it any meaningful name you want, but then the return type of this method is going to be a partial view result. Not an action result. Okay. And why we are going to return a partial view result? That is because, look at this. Look at this. When we click on this all link, we don't want the entire view to be refreshed. We only want this portion. We only want this portion of the view to be refreshed. So we are going to return a partial view result. Okay. So here, what I'm going to do, go back to the Visual Studio. So here, what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to create a list of students. And let's call this model is equal to, so this DB object has got students collections, which is going to give us the list of all students. So db dot students dot to list dot to list. So give us the complete list of all the students that we have in TBL student table. Now what I'm going to do is look at this, that return type here is partial view result. Here the return type is partial view result. And how do we return a partial view result? Using partial view. Using partial view. Partial view function. And how do we return a partial view result? Using partial view function. And when we use partial view function, we can specify the name of the view, the name of the partial view, and the model it consumes. And if you look at this students, and if you look at this student, this is the partial view that is going to display the list of student. And what is the model that it expects? I enumerable of students, nothing but a list of student. So within our controller, I am going to specify the view name as underscore student. That is the partial view. And what is the model? The model object. That we have created here. Okay, so similarly, I'm going to have a method for returning top 3 students. Let's make another copy of this one. And let's call this maybe bottom 3. Okay, so top 3, we don't want all those students. So what I am going to do here is I am going to use order by descending. Order by descending. So we want the top 3 students. So I am going to order all these students by descending order. But we need to specify based on which property do we want to order them in ascending order. We need to specify based on which property do we want to order them in descending order. I want to order them by total marks. It is giving an error. Dot take So I want to order them by total marks in descending, and once we have sorted them in descending order, take top 3. Take top 3 student and then convert that to a list. Okay, so simple and straightforward link method there. Okay, and similarly I am going to make an exact copy of this one and paste it right here. So copy this and paste it here. And instead of using order by descending, I am simply going to say order by. So this will sort them in ascending order. And we are taking the top 3. So this will give us bottom 3. So this will give us bottom 3 student, and this is going to return us, top 3, whereas this action method whereas this action method is going to return us all these students. Okay. So the next steps, is to actually design our index view. Next step is to actually design our index view. So let's go ahead and add an index view. So I'm going to right click on this index action method. So go back to your Visual Studio home controller.cs file. So I'm going to right click on this index action method. So add view. We are going to add MVC5 view. And we want the name of the view to be index. So keep it as it is. And I'm going to uncheck this option. And I'm going to make use of Razor view engine, and let's not create a strongly typed view. Let's write the HTML ourselves. So let's click add. So this should add index view within the home folder. So go to the structure folder. In the view folder, we have this added home folder. So let's get rid of that. So let's get rid of that. So as to what do we want to display? So what do we want to display? We want to display student. The heading. So S2, so go back to Visual Studio. So S2 students. And then the first thing that we want is, and then the first thing that we want is these three links. We want these three links. Okay, now we are going to use Ajax dot action link HTML helper. We are using we are going to use Ajax dot action link HTML helper. Okay, and look at this. To display this link, we are actually there. We are using actually. There are several overloaded versions of this action link helper. of this action link helper, but we are going to use the overloaded version, which takes the link text as a parameter. So this all is the link text that you see here, and this second second parameter is the action method that we need to invoke when we click on that link. The third parameter is the Ajax options. We will understand them in just a bit. But let's first write that code here. So go back to the Visual Studio. Let's write add Ajax dot action link There are these several overloaded versions, as you can see. There are 12 overloaded versions. And if you look at this, there are 12 overloaded versions. We are going to use this overloaded version. So what is link text? What is link text? We want all. And which action method we want to invoke? And which action method we want to invoke? We want to invoke all action method within the home controller, and then Ajax options. So what are our action options? Let's specify them here. Okay. Okay. So if you look at this now on this view, I'm going to have a div tag here, and I'm going to set an ID for that. So again, go back to Visual Studio. I'm going to have a div tag here, and I'm going to set an ID for that. And let's call this maybe div student. Div student. Okay, so what I basically want here is when we invoke that all action method, that all action method. So this is the method. So this is the method that gets invoked, and what we are doing here, we are retrieving the list of student. We are retrieving the list of students and passing them to this partial view, and this partial view is going to loop through each student, generate the student table for us, and it is going to return that. So when we invoke this all method, we are going to get some HTML along with the data. So where do you want to place that? Basically the output of this method within the index view. Where do you want to place it? We want to place it within this div tag. Okay, so that is the purpose of this div tag here. Okay, and if you look at the Ajax options here, and if you look at the Ajax options here, look at this. We are using 3 properties of this Ajax options object. HTTP method. So what HTTP method do we want to use to get the data? Do you want to do that by using a GET request or a POST request? We want to do that using a GET request. So HTTP method is GET there. And what is your update target ID? And what is your update target ID? Obviously, when we invoke this method, we are going to get some data back. So that data, where do we want to put it? On your view. So what is the update target ID? So what is the update target ID? So basically that is nothing. So basically that is nothing but the element ID where you want to place the data that you get. Okay, and then the insertion mode, and then the insertion mode. So how do you want to place that data? Do you want to remove the content that is already there and then put the new content that you get? If that the case, the insertion mode should be replace. The insertion mode should be replace. Okay, so let's go ahead and specify this Ajax options here. So Ajax options. So go back to Visual Studio. So let's specify. So let's specify this Ajax options here. So Ajax options HTTP. Let's actually format this properly. So HTTP method is going to be so the HTTP method going is to be get request, update target ID, that is going to be the ID, that is going to be this ID. And then how we want the data to be basically inserted. Insertion mode should be replace. Or you can choose these other options. Means you can choose these other options, but we will choose replace. Means you can choose other options. Which options? Insert before, insert after. So let's choose replace. Okay, so this should display display all link. But we want top 3 and bottom 3, and we need that, this symbol separator, and we need that, the symbol separator. And to get that pipe symbol there, I am going to use span tag. So go back to your Visual Studio, span tag, and then specify the pipe. And then specify the pipe. And I'm also going to use the style attribute. And set the color to blue. And set the color to blue. Okay, and I'm going to make a copy of this one, and I'm going to make a copy of this one. Because we need other links as well. We need top 3 and bottom 3. So let's make another copy of that. And then let's put this span tag here. Okay, so here we want the link text as top 3. And link, and the method that we want to invoke is top 3. So within the home controller, we have top 3 action method, and then let's copy this name finally. This is the third link. So here, bottom 3. And the action method we want to invoke is bottom 3. Okay, and then let's use another div tag here. And set the font family to Arial. And let's move this closing tag. To the end. All right. That's all there to it. That's all there to it. And there is one more step. That we need to do. Basically, for all this Ajax to work, we need script files. Okay, so we need 2 script files. The first one is jQuery script file 1.7.1 min.js file. So let me drag and drop the jQuery file. And then the second script file that we need is jQuery, the Ajax jQuery. The Ajax unobtrusive Ajax means.js query file we need is unobtrusive dash Ajax. So let's drag and drop this here, and then let's change the path to use tilde. Okay, so go back to your Visual Studio. We need to specify that script file here. So go to the folder structure, open the script file here. We need this means.js, but I have the latest version of this means.js is, where is the latest version? 3.7.1 that you have seen here. 1.7.1. It is saying this, but it was saying 1.7.1, but we have the latest version 3.7.0. So let me drag and drop this here. So the latest also there 3.0.1, 3.7.1, but I have this here. So I'm going to drag and drop it here. If it doesn't work, then I will go to the jQuery website and drag it and then copy and paste it there. Where is the link gone? That is the link. Copy this and paste it here. Okay. And the second one, here you have to but you don't need to do that. So the second script is according to the slide. Script jQuery unobtrusive Ajax means.jx. So check whether it is in our script folder. Do you see the unobtrusive? This is the unobtrusive file, but it doesn't mention any Ajax here, and this validate should not be here. So where do we find that jQuery unobtrusive dash Ajax? We need to go to the CDN. So let me copy this and go to the browser. We need to go to open up our browser, Google Chrome. And here paste the and click this. So we need this jQuery Ajax unobtrusive 3.26 jQuery So copy it. We need this one and paste it here below this. So this is too lengthy. We need only, so remove this portion from this tag, from this. Okay. So that is our two script files. First one is jQuery 3.7.0 mins.js. So though the jQuery 3.7.1 min.js is also available, if you go to the jQuery file website, I have already downloaded that into my jQuery 2. If you see this, this is the 3.7.1. So let me copy this and paste it here. Did I copy or not copy? Again, open this. Copy this and paste it here. So we need to paste it in this script folder. This one I need. So which one I need? This one. I have drag and drop this 3.7.0 mins.js, but instead of that I will drag and drop this 3.7.1 mins.js. So remove this one. This is the older script file. So if you see dot dot slash, then you should replace that dot dot slash with this tilde symbol. Okay. And it is very important that these script files are referenced in their orders, in these orders. Because this one depends on jQuery. So jQuery should be referenced first. And then the jQuery dot unobtrusive dash Ajax should be referenced. After that, okay. So let's save everything. So let's save everything. Let's build our solution. Build succeeded. Let's actually run this. Now we should navigate to index view. So run this. Control F5. We should navigate to index view, and then it should display the three links there. So we need not these action name and this footer there. So what we need to do for that to be removed? We need to change in our layout XHTML file with this coding, with these coding. So copy this and go to layout.cshtml. So first of all, close this one. Go to layout.cshtml. This one. So remove all this coding from here and paste the copied coding from the notepad here. Okay, let's save the changes. And once again build the solution. And let's actually run this. So control F5. So we should navigate to index view, and then it should display these three links, and then it should display these three links. Okay, so we have got our three links there. And when it first renders, we should not see any data. Okay, so when we click all, we should get all student there. So click all. We get all student there. When we click top three, look at that, we only get top three. When we click top bottom three, we only get bottom three. All right. So if I right click on this page and view page source, so right click on this page and view page source. Look at this page. HTML is so clean. Is so clean. We don't have any trace of JavaScript here. Okay, we have the script tags here, and then look at what is generated here. and look at what is generated here for us. For example, if you look at this all link, if you look at all link, so here is the HTML for the all, for the all. Here is the HTML for the all. So we have an anchor tag there, and look at this data dash Ajax is equal to data text data dash Ajax is equal to true. Okay, and data dash Ajax method equals get, and data Ajax method equal to get. And look at the mode, replace, because we want the insertion mode to be replaced. Okay, so basically this data dash attribute, are used by this unobtrusive Ajax script file, and then it is issuing that Ajax call to the server. All right. And this is the and this is the student partial view code. This is the presentation slide. Student partial code. That's it for today. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.